without further ado, let us now begin.
Letter message from the mayor of Hiroshima. It is both my honor and pleasure to send this message on the occasion of the Hiroshima-Nagasaki Peace Memorial 2022. 77 years ago, a single atomic bomb instantly reduced our city to a scorched plain, bringing cruel death to countless innocent victims and leaving those who managed to survive with profound, lifelong physical and emotional trauma due to radiation, fear of after effects, and economic hardship. Rooted in their deep conviction that no one else should ever suffer as we have, unquote, the hibakusha tell their stories, conveying not only the horror and inhumanity of nuclear weapons, but also an intense yearning for peace, born of compassion. The Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which entered into effect last January 22, 2021, is a culmination of many long years of sustained activity by the hibakusha, whose demands have moved the international community. It remains for us now to strive to increase the treaty's effectiveness and pursue the goal of a world free from nuclear weapons. However, the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine continues to fuel the dangerous idea that military forces are the only way to suppress violence committed by military forces. As long as we cling to the nuclear deterrence theory based on the assumption of rational decision-making by leaders, humanity will continue to live in fear of dangers posed by nuclear weapons. To avert such a scenario, we should deeply reflect upon the horrific consequences of the use of nuclear weapons and strive to solve the problem at its source by eliminating such weapons, no matter how difficult the journey. The road to abolition will not be smooth, but if each of us in civil society sustain an unshakable conviction that nuclear weapons are totally unacceptable and share that conviction persuasively with people around the world, we can compel world leaders to turn away from nuclear deterrence. It therefore could not be more meaningful that you have organized this event to call for a peaceful world free of nuclear weapons, and I extend to you my deepest respect. The city of Hiroshima will never stop preserving the facts of the bombing, disseminating them beyond our borders, and conveying them to the future. Together with the city of Nagasaki and other Mayors for Peace member cities around the world, our city will work to allow a culture of peace that rejects all forms of violence to take root in civil society. In a global culture where peace is a universal value, world leaders will find the courage to correct their policies. I would like to ask all of you to act in solidarity with us as we strive to eliminate nuclear weapons and realize lasting world peace. In closing, I extend my best wishes for the great success of this event, as well as the good health and happiness of all in attendance. August 6, 2022, Matsui Kazumi, Mayor, City of Hiroshima.
Now, a letter of message from a mayor of city of Nagasaki. For this occasion of the Hiroshima-Nagasaki Peace Memorial Ceremony in Boston, I'd like to send this message on behalf of the citizens of Nagasaki, Japan. I'd like to express our respect and appreciation to the sincere efforts of the organizers who have been working quite a long time for achieving the idea of peace through cultural and art forms. Near the end of the World War II, on August 9, 1945, an atomic bomb exploded over the city of Nagasaki and ruined our city with about 150,000 casualties. Even after 77 years, those who have barely survived still suffer from traumas, both physically and mentally. Yet, these victims continue to share their painful experiences for expressing the foolish act of war and the realization of the world without nuclear weapons. With strong desire of, quote, no one in the world should experience the same devastating events, quote. Then such appeals of victims have come to flourish that a treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons have entered into force in January of last year. The 76th year since the atomic bomb explosion makes the new start of realize the world without nuclear weapons. However, looking at today's world, a series of events, such as Russia's invasion of Ukraine, have led to the road to the world without nuclear weapons not only getting tougher, but also the risk of being used again is rapidly increasing. To put a brake on this current situation and to support the trend towards the abolition of nuclear weapons, it is necessary for each of us to act as a party to create peace. There are many things we can do for peace. Expressing the hope for peace through arts in events like the Hiroshima-Nagasaki Peace Memorial Ceremony in Boston is one of them. Experience those arts and think about the world peace is another example we can do. Together, every precious action forms a big stream that leads to the peace. I wish today's ceremony spread seeds of peace in your hearts that will grow big and will spread peace culture all over the world. In closing, I extend my best wishes, good health, and happiness of all in attendance. August 6, 2022, Tomihisa Taue, Mayor of City of Nagasaki, Japan. Thank you. Now, we'd like to ask the moment of silence.
My friend, Jizo is the guardian deity of children in Japan. Jizo also protects the souls of unborn babies and children who have died before their parents. Jizo protects these children from devils and hides them in his clothing from evil spirits. Jizo then looks after them as guardian on behalf of their parents. The time is the summer of 1948. The place is Hiroshima. It is 3 years after the dropping of the atomic bomb. A young librarian, Mitsuha, comes home from work to find her father, Takezo, waiting for her.
Daddy, I'm scared.
This way, over here, Mitsue. Quick, get in. What's the matter with you? Get the cushion on your head and get yourself in under here.
Daddy, so that's where you've been.
Where the hell do you think I was, huh? You told me where and when to go, and that's where you'll find me. Where else would I be, huh?
But it's ridiculous. I mean, preposterous. You.
Keep babbling and getting the hell in here, will ya? See? There it is again.
Daddy,
You've got 3 things going for you now, okay? Me, the closet, and the cushion. No flashes or booms are gonna hurt you now.
but Daddy, I'm 23. A bit of thunder shouldn't scare the living daylights out of someone my age. It's downright embarrassing, Daddy. And besides, it really gets to me.
Don't blame yourself, Mitsue.
Oh, I don't know.
Look, it wasn't so long ago you were the tomboy at the athletics club at your girls' school, doing the laps with the best of them, right? A bit of thunder didn't stop you then.
There were only 3 of us all together in the club, so I ended up having to run everything from the sprint to long distance stuff. Who had time to worry about thunder?
That's my little spunky girl. So what happened to turn you into such a little scaredy cat, huh?
I don't know. I just am. I'm scared to death.
Since when?
Since about 3 years ago, I guess.
The bomb.
I guess.
Hey, remember Nobu from the Tomita Photoshop?
He took a lot of pictures of all of us, yeah.
He was one of the top photographers in Hiroshima. Took great pictures.
Yeah, if you call those racy pictures great.
Racy?
You let those army officers use our home, the Fukuyushi Inn, as a clubhouse, and you got your hands on a lot of goods that way. I remember.
So I did. We had rice and sake pouring out of the closets, and canned salmon and corned beef, cigarettes, caramels. Yeah. Mommy died when you were my little baby, and even if you were starved for a mother's love, I didn't want you to be without the things you needed. So as long as I had the breath of life in me.
You would lure as many women as you could with cigarettes and rice and take them to some hot springs resort. And that's when Nobu took those secret photos of them and he showed to those officers, and then you.
That very Nobu, that was those little jellies that you get from God knows where.
I know.
Such a talent as a photographer. And he wasted peddling black market jellies.
Serves him right for taking nude pictures in the hot springs.
You gonna listen to me or not, eh?
Sorry, Daddy.
What happened was, he says every time one of his magnesium bulbs popped, he couldn't get the flash of the bomb out of his head. Like it was a photo of real sharp focus. It scared the daylights out of him, and so he says he gave up photography. So that's why you and he go to pieces, because the flashes and the boomies remind you of the bomb.
I don't know.
Well, you gotta know. You got your reasons to be scared, and you should be ashamed of it. Nobody blames a victim of bomb for getting shook up over something that flashes, even if it's just an innocent little firefly. You get the right to be scared.
Is there a right for being scared?
If there isn't, there should be. Any bomb victim who says he's not afraid of thunder is a phony victim.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, maybe. Okay. Oh, gee, the sun's coming out.
Yeah, the sun.
Thunder seems to have moved on out to sea at Hujina.
That's a relief. I've got some barley tea I made before going to the library this morning. Want some?
Just what the doctor ordered. Can't drink it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh my god.
What is it, Daddy?
The sweet bean jam bun. The one Mr. Kinoshita gave you at the library today? What if it's been squished?
Oh no.
Mizuo grabs the bag that she was clutching so tightly and takes a bun wrapped in newspaper. The bun somehow has managed to retain its shape.
It's still all plump and round.
He got it at a stall by the station.
You don't see bean jam buns like this these days.
Mr. Kinoshita says he was stopped dead in his tracks when he caught sight of them. I mean, they just kind of shot out at him. So he bought one, but then his legs kind of turned to lead, and he had to buy another before he could finally get away.
Gee, this is one hell of a bean jam bun. That's all I can say.
I was sitting at the library checkout desk, and he walks up to me and says, "Here, too much for me. You take one? Let's eat it now."
Yeah, well, except that I can't. You know.
Yeah, I forgot.
Kinoshita, that young fellow who gave you the bun, told you he was teaching at the University of Arts and Sciences, didn't he?
Yeah, he's attached to the physics department, he says, from this September.
What do you mean attached?
I mean, a kind of tutor.
He wears glasses thicker than 2 milk bottle bottoms and totes around that huge briefcase wherever he goes and speaks real calm and soft, no? He's one hell of an intellectual, that fellow, if you ask me.
He was lecturing at the Navy Arsenals Institute at Kure till the bomb dropped. He was a technical officer, a lieutenant there.
A bit rough around the edges for a Navy man, if you ask me.
Not all men in the Navy are like you think, Daddy. Anyways, he went to his old school at Tohoku Imperial University as a graduate student for 2 years after the war ended and came back here in early July this month. And he says that just after the bomb dropped here in Hiroshima, all he did all day was wander around what was left of the red burnt out city.
But how old is he? 30 maybe?
26. That's what it says on his library card.
And you're 23. So it's a perfect match.
What's wrong with you, Daddy? He's just someone who goes to the library.
Somebody he just goes to the library, doesn't go around giving away bean jam buns.
Ridiculous. I'm not going on with this. Look, it's time for dinner. You going to stay, Daddy?
Up to you.
Okay. Give me a hand then with the cleaning up.
About that young fella, Kinoshita. You know, he wouldn't give you a bun if he hadn't taken a shine to you. You gotta get that straight, you know.
You see too much in a little bun, Daddy.
Even a bun can carry a lot of weight. If you would just have the courage and look into it a bit more deeply.
Mr. Kinoshita gave it to me to thank me, that's all.
More than just a thanks in my book.
Oh, Daddy. Now, please come here and sit down. 4 days ago, on Friday last week, a man came up to the desk at the library just afternoon and said, "Do you have objects related to the atom bomb? I was told at City Hall to inquire at the library." It was Mr. Kinoshita. We normally tell people that there are no such materials there, but something about the way he asked was so sincere that I explained to him. The occupation forces keep a very close eye on everything to do with gathering information on the bomb. They forbid going public in any way, assuming that we would be allowed to obtain things in the first place. Besides, as an atomic victim myself, it takes everything out of me just to forget it. Nothing about what happened that day in August will make a story or anything, like a picture or a poem or a novel, for that matter, a subject to be studied. One instant pulverized people's whole world, and that's why we do not collect things on it. Not only that, if there were such things, we'd destroy them for good. I have burned absolutely everything that would remind me of my father. So you see, Daddy, the bomb was only to thank me. Nothing more than that.
You got 2 little checkout desks next to each other at the library, right? With 1 girl each?
That's right, Miss Takagaki and me, so?
Ever since the bomb, you've not been yourself. You keep everything to yourself and keep people at arm's length, moping around with a scowl on your face till you get home. Miss Takagaki always looks on the bright side of things, right?
Yeah, so? What are you getting at, Daddy?
I mean, what makes a fellow like Kinoshita go for Miss Grumpy guys like you instead of someone who will, well, more approachable like Miss Takagaki, eh? That's the crux of it. Anybody would think he'd go for her first.
It's his privilege.
That's what I'm saying. That fella Kinoshita has one hell of a head on his shoulders. And as for you, you always had a nice disposition and knew what was what. I mean, you graduated second in your class, didn't you? Kinoshita saw the real you and took notice. That's what's behind that sweet bun of yours. Take my word for it.
I can't stop you if you make up preposterous things like that. Just sit there for as long as you like with your little stories. They have nothing to do with me.
There's another hidden meaning in that bun. I'm convinced of it.
Will you please stop bringing up that bun?
Look, this thing is crucial for you, Mitsue, and I'm not going to rest until I get to the bottom of that bun.
You come here out of the blue and go on and on about some stupid bun. I tell you, I can't think straight anymore. My head...
You can't think straight because you fancy that fellow Kinoshita too. It's love at first sight for both of you, and it won't be long before you won't have eyes to anybody else. Hard as a rock on the outside, but dripping with sweetness on the inside. Your heart is just one big sweet bean jam bun.
Not on your life! I don't let myself get keen on anybody, and that's that.
But you made a date with him for tomorrow, didn't you? To meet during the lunch break at Tsunamatsu near the library?
I wanted to say no, but...
But you can't just blabber away at the library desk, huh?
So, well, I just nodded okay.
So that means...
You watch me tomorrow, Daddy. Watch me tell Mr. Kinoshita in no uncertain terms never to speak to me again.
Why do you always turn everything around, huh? There's no harm in facing the fella. You're keen on him and he's keen on you. Get yourself together and live happily ever after. That's what's really at the bottom of the bun he gave you.
I can't be happy, so just stop talking, Daddy.
I'm the head of your fan club, you know, and I won't let go of you.
Head of my fan club?
Yeah, think about it.
Is that why you've been hanging and meeting around to get me to fall in love? Love is out of the question. I can't fall in love. Please stop pestering me about it, okay?
If you don't stop suppressing your feelings like that, you'll end up living a life dull as ditchwater, you know.
Keep your nose out of my business, will you, Daddy? I've got things to do. I've got a dinner to make and prepare for tomorrow. We've got a children's summer storytelling club where for 10 days the library staff tells stories for kids.
Mitsue starts chopping cabbage with great gusto. Takeko watches her for a while, then dusts his way to the entryway. Mitsue now chops the cabbage with even greater vigor. It is the next day after 8 p.m. It is the same house whose 8-mat room is illuminated by a naked 30-watt bulb. There is smoke from a mosquito coil on the veranda. Mitsue sits at a desk writing with a pencil. She is dressed as she was the day before.
That club of yours was given a real talking to by the inspector from the prefecture 6 years ago, wasn't he? He said that if you had time to study folktales, you could be down at the factory working. We've got a war on, he says. This is an emergency. Your club broke up around the end of 1942, if I recall.
Yeah, but the spirit of that club is still alive inside me.
That's just what you said to the Kinoshita fella when you two had the argument at lunch today, isn't it?
It wasn't an argument, it was a debate.
Maybe, but the folks who wanted to take a nap in a cool breeze by the little pine forest at Hijiyama were so jolted by your hollering, they all woke up alarmed.
I tell you, we were just having a discussion.
Mitsue goes back to the sitting room and tries to commit the story to memory. Takezo divides the food in the mortar into 2 portions and puts them in 2 lidded china containers. Takezo wraps one of the lidded containers with small fry and miso in a handkerchief.
Small fry in miso. For that Kinoshita fella, lid on everything. You make sure you give it to him tomorrow.
Daddy, how long are you going to go on like this?
God knows why, but men have a thing for girls' handkerchiefs.
Will you please mind your own business and stop imagining things and then reading everything into them?
Oh well, then give it to your boss instead.
My boss's wife gets jealous at the top of a hat. They might cause trouble.
Well, then I think you better give it to that Kinoshita fella after all.
This is the last time I'm going to let you do something like this.
Look, forget that and think about what you were arguing about with Kinoshita instead, all right?
Well, just before we parted, he asked me if it wasn't a good idea to use his atom bomb objects in trying to tell the children about what happened to me with the bomb and everything.
That fella sure has a good head on his shoulders.
I told him it was out of the question. Our philosophy is not to tamper with the original stories.
There you go again. I mean, it's one thing to stick to the letter of the stories that you heard on your trips, but
But he kept on pushing the stuff that he collected on me and wouldn't take no for an answer, even though I told him over and over that it was out of the question. Then I started shouting, I guess. Well, that's the long and short of it. The summer holiday storytelling is for children, Daddy.
sure it is. Look, just take a story like Momotaro or The Battle of the Monkey and the Crab or, say, The Little Inch-High Warrior and kind of work the atom bomb into it.
How am I supposed to do that?
You're the expert. Figure it out.
The occupation forces keep an eye on absolutely everything, Daddy. You can afford to pretend that things don't matter because you have no idea how powerful the occupation army is.
Got it.
I've got to go and memorize my stories. You can leave anytime you please. Do visit again, will you?
Just be content with the small fried miso for that fellow when you give it to him.
Thank you, Daddy, for everything you've done for me. Daddy? Daddy?
Takezo is gone. The next day, Thursday, after midday, it is raining. Drops from the leaking ceiling fall into strategically placed bowls and teacups. 5 or 6 of them in the sitting room, and 7 or 6 in the 8-mat bedroom. Takezo is surveying the ceiling for leaks like a teacher watching over students taking an exam. Finding a new leak between the sitting room and the bedroom, he hums what sounds like a children's song as he hops between the bowls and cups as if playing hopscotch, and places the small pot under the leak.
This rain doesn't have brains it was born with. It started in the morning, it hasn't stopped all day. Rain, rain, go away, your old man's a brute and your old mom's a floozy.
He returns to his original position with the writing desk in hand, and while looking for a place to put it down, notices a letter paper and an envelope on it. He puts the desk down, sits at it, and reads the envelope.
Mr. Tadashi Kinoshita, care of Mrs. Takazawa, Kogemori, Nichume, Fuchu Town, Hiroshima City. Dear Mr. Kinoshita, allow me to express my gratitude for your visits to the municipal library. I seem to always be busy when you kindly appear. Seeing as this is such an important matter, I've taken the liberty of writing the things that you have collected from the bomb zone. If you have nothing against my home, as I live by myself, there is room. It does have a few leaks here and there, but as it is stifling hot these days, take good care of yourself. Yours truly.
Mitsui returns. She stands in the entryway, shaking water off her Japanese umbrella.
Home already?
Oh, Daddy.
Yep, I'm making myself right at home. What's up? Come back to get something?
No, I just left work early.
Feeling sick or something? Oh no, you're not nauseous, are you? Is it the dizziness? Ringing in your ears? Constipation? Diarrhea? Do you still suffer from radiation sickness?
Not recently.
That's a relief.
The only place it aches is here.
That sets my heart at ease, if that's all it is. Who knows? Maybe that god-awful monster of the illness has finally been driven away.
Yeah, he leads you to believe that you are out of the woods and then bam, he catches you by surprise.
So everything work out then?
What do you mean?
The small fry miso, that Kinoshita fella, was he happy to get it?
Oh, that.
Didn't he say, "Oh, I just love small fry and miso"?
Haven't given it to him yet. Here it is.
What's it doing here?
I didn't go to Hijiyama.
Why not?
Well, it was raining for one thing.
You got an umbrella?
I mean, the paths are so slushy and I could slip and hurt myself.
Your clothes are still pretty good.
Besides,
What?
I thought it best not to go on seeing Mr. Kinoshita.
Not that again. People who keep repeating themselves only become laughingstocks.
Then I saw Mr. Kinoshita walking towards the library from the direction of Hijiyama. I thought it better not to meet him, so I left work early.
I'd smack some sense into you if these were the old days.
It's better this way, Daddy. I can't let myself fall in love with anyone.
If you keep acting unnatural like that, you'll lose all heart, Mitsue.
Take my word for it. I'll be fine. Let me be, okay?
Don't mess with the head of your fan club.
What's got into you now?
You're trying to pull the wool over your old man's eyes with your barefaced lies. How long you gonna go on pretending that you don't fancy him, huh?
Look, all I said was,
Who needs to ask you? Yours truly? Who needs to say another word? It's all here.
it's just a polite phrase that all women write.
As I live by myself, there is room. Do all women write that to some fellow who comes sauntering into the library?
I wrote it as a joke. I planned to throw the whole thing away. Give it to me.
If you don't want it anymore, I'll throw it away.
Oh, Daddy.
Why do you insist you can't fall in love, huh? Sure, you don't have the sort of looks that go knocking men off their feet, but then I guess I'm half to blame for that. But you got respectable enough features, and that's due to me too.
Ridiculous.
The point is, it's good enough face for that Kinoshita fellow, so why worry?
I'm telling you, that's not the point.
So maybe the point's of radiation sickness, huh? You can't let yourself fall in love because you never know when it's gonna hit you again?
But he said he would stake his own life on looking after me if it came to that.
Well then, you two seem to have sewn it all up. Ah, I see you're worried about the little one when it comes into this world. Radiation sickness does get passed down to babies, they say.
If that's our fate, then we'll bring it up best as we can.
That's what he said too?
More or less.
Well, whether it's more or whether it's less, if you've gone that far, you certainly don't need me.
And it's all the more reason why I can't go on seeing him.
You telling me the closer you get to each other, the farther you want to be?
More or less.
I'm really gonna flip my lid if you don't stop this nonsense. What you said 2 days ago is topsy-turvy from what you're gonna say 2 days from now. I tell you, you're doing so many backflips and front flips, I can't tell which end is up.
Kindly be seated, Father.
I will.
There are countless people who, by all rights, should have been able to lead a happy life. Who am I to elbow my way past them and make a claim on happiness? If I did, I'd never be able to look them or myself in the face.
Who are these people you're talking about?
People like Akiko Fukumura, for instance.
Akiko Fukumura?
Akiko, Akiko was the one who should have had a chance at happiness.
Why is that then?
She was prettier than me and more clever and more popular, and she saved me from the bomb.
Saved you from the bomb?
If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be alive today.
I was on a veranda, wasn't I? I was polishing brown rice and with a stick and a big sake bottle when I saw you passing the stone lantern and said, "Be careful, Misa."
I turned toward you when I heard your voice and waved. It was then I saw a B-29 just beyond our roof and caught sight of something shining, glinting. Daddy, they are dropping something on us.
Funny, there's been no air raid warning. I stepped down into the garden.
I wonder what they are dropping now. Propaganda flyers, maybe? As I was looking up, my grip loosened and I dropped the letter from the stone by the stone lantern. Oh God, I bent down to pick it up when out of the blue, everything under the sun turned a pure white.
I saw it full on. 2 suns of blazing fire.
Daddy,
It was a great ball of fire, blindingly white at the center with a weird kind of yellow and red outline. What happened then?
I was shielded from heat coming from the fireball by the lantern. If I hadn't received that letter from Akiko, I wouldn't have been kneeling down by the lantern. That's why I said she saved my life.
What is it, Mitsue?
Akiko had taken the first train that morning from Mizushima to Hiroshima.
Oh,
She was on her way to school to fetch some things she needed for her evening tutorial, mimeograph things and a couple of reams of coarse paper.
what'd she do then? Oh no.
She stopped off at her mother's at Nishikango-machi, then set out for school exactly at 8. She was hit by the bomb when she was by the Red Cross offices at Seindamachi.
I've heard enough. Now I think I know why you feel you can't seek out happiness like ordinary people. But Mitsue, look at it this way. You've got to live out Akiko's happiness for her.
I can't do that, Daddy, because I promised her mother.
Her mother?
I met up with her mother 3 days after the blast in the early evening of August 9th. I had gone to Akiko's. When I got there, her mother was lying in a tunnel dug into the garden. She was on her stomach because her back was covered in these enormous blisters. She looked really happy to see me. And she got to her feet and hugged me really tight and thanked me for coming. But when she started telling me about Akiko, she all of a sudden turned white as a ghost and she just looked right through me and
Go on.
she said, "What are you doing alive? Why are you alive when my daughter isn't?" By the end of the month, she was died too.
This might not help any, but really, Akiko's mom wasn't really in her right mind. And I'm sure she didn't mean it. And
No, it was unnatural for me to have survived, Daddy.
what on earth makes you say such a thing?
I don't deserve to live.
Don't you ever say a thing like that again.
Listen to me, Daddy.
I'm not going to listen to another word of this.
Almost all my friends are gone. Etsuko, who died while standing in a fire prevention reservoir. Gauri, just walking along, her tongue swollen out of her mouth like she was chewing on an eggplant. Fumiko had gotten married just after graduation. She died with her baby at her breast. The baby, too, went to the other world soon after, pressing its little face to her breasts, without even an inkling of what this world is like. And Michiko, my friend at the telephone exchange, 2 of her coworkers were too scared to move, so she put her arms around them and told them to be brave because she wouldn't leave them until she died, too, right there. It's 3 years now, Daddy, and I have still had no news from other friends. And there's you too, Daddy.
You and I have an old agreement, remember? You should try to keep that in mind, Mitsue.
That's wrong, Daddy. To die in Hiroshima was the natural thing to do. To survive here is unnatural.
Dead people don't see it that way. I'm perfectly at peace with what happened to me, actually.
I don't deserve to be alive, but I don't have the courage to die either. So I'm just going to live a quiet life, and when I get a chance, leave life just as quietly. It has been 3 very hard years for me, Daddy. Please at least give me credit for managing to stay alive.
Where are you off to now?
I've got to get back to repairing those books. So I guess I'll go to the library. I doubt if Mr. Kinoshita is still there.
Hold on a minute.
He takes the envelope and letter out of his pants pocket and pushes them on her.
You take this to the post office. Special delivery.
Don't be ridiculous, Daddy.
That's an order from your father.
Mitsue takes the envelope and letter from her father. She is shaking. Takezo, discovering leaks from the rain, starts going around the room, placing cups and bowls below them.
Rain, rain, go away. Your old man's a brute and your mom's a floozy.
It is 6 p.m. on Friday, the next day. Objects brought by Kinoshita fill the space from the bedroom to the garden. A large sake jug, misshapen by the heat of the blast. A round face clock, 30 centimeters in diameter, whose hands are stopped at 8:15 a.m. And a half-burnt bridal doll, Mitsue enters the house, a smile still on her face. She suddenly gazes at the head of Jizo, and her smile freezes. She enters the garden and turns the head of the Jizo toward her.
It's Daddy. On the day the bomb dropped.
Dekezo enters, tapping his shoulders with a bamboo pipe used to blow on embers in a fire.
Well, how do you like them apples? It's me in the flesh.
Mitsue looks back and forth at his and the Jizo's face, her body stiffening, and abruptly turns the Jizo back the other way.
I didn't know you were here.
Not a very clever entrance this time, I'm afraid. Anyway, that Kinoshita fella seemed to say that he'd be back with more things from the bomb zone again. You make sure you thank him properly for everything and offer him a bath.
A bath?
Nothing hits a spot like a bath on a hot day like today.
Have you been hitting up our bath, Daddy?
You bet.
You've done everything.
20 years being a widower wasn't a complete washout, you know. How does that fella like his bath? Boiling hot or on the tepid side?
How should I know?
Yeah, if you got a point, well, I'll aim for something in between. When he comes out, you have to give him something cold.
I've got a bottle of beer that I bought.
Good going. But the driver will have to content himself with water. Even cold water is a treat on a hot day like this.
I've got a block of ice that I bought too.
Oh, and you have to ask the driver to leave early. Make sure he doesn't overstay his welcome. Got it?
He mentioned that he had other business right after.
That's what I want to hear. Make sure you've got new towels ready.
I bought them.
And you'll need a bar of soap
I bought that too.
and a pumice stone to rub off dry skin,
Bought.
and a sponge,
Bought one.
and a man's bathrobe.
Bought. No. What would I have that for?
Yeah, it wouldn't look good to people if you went around buying a man's bathrobe, I guess. Now, there's no need telling you that it's a bit premature for you to go scrubbing his back for him in the bath. I mean, that too wouldn't look too good if I got out.
Shouldn't you be putting more firewood under the bath, Daddy?
I don't need reminding. Now, what are you planning to serve him for dinner, huh?
A beer and small fry in miso to go with it.
Good going.
Marinated sardines.
That a girl, that's the thing.
Soy-flavored rice.
So what goes into the rice, eh?
Sliced burdock, finely chopped carrots, and then deep-fried tofu and small fry.
I can't take it anymore.
Topped off with a slice of melon.
You don't have room for one more, do you?
Nothing would make me happier, Daddy, than to see you eat.
You think you'd be getting some time off with summer vacation?
Vacation?
Yeah, well, that Kinoshita fella said when he was just leaving that it would be nice if you could go with him up to Iwate. Said his folks would be really happy to see you up there if you want.
I guess I'd get time off if I wanted.
Then go with him for crying out loud.
I've always wanted to go to Iwate, where Kenji Miyazawa came from.
Kenji who?
Miyazawa, the poet and children's story writer. His books are really popular in our library. I like his poem too.
What sort of poems?
Oh, the morning of last farewell and January on the Iwate Light Railway and Once Around the Stars.
Oh, Once Around the Stars.
The scorpion with red burning eyes. The eagle with wings so gracefully unfurled. And little dog, her eyes so blue and bright. The long snake of light shines in its own world. The poem has a lot of constellation names in it.
Daddy wrote a poem about the stars when he was in elementary school too, you know.
You did?
The night has come again tonight. In dozing off, I count the stars. 3, 4, 7 stars in the heavens. Stars twinkle on the ground. The burglars burgle through the trees. I better go check on the fire. I'll just skip the rest of the song. But the teacher gave me a B for it and pinned it on the classroom wall. His asking you to go home to Iwate with him was sort of a proposal, you know. You got that, didn't you? Through the trees, the raggedy owl bums, while the temple raccoon pounds his belly just like drums.
Dekezo exits, brandishing his pipe in the air. Once she has seen that he is gone, Mitsui again enters the garden and looks at the Jizo's face. She appears to have made up her mind about something and hurries back into the house, takes a large huroshiki from the closet and begins packing her things. Takezo returns.
What are you, packing or something? Doesn't look like the sort of stuff you'd take on a summer holiday to Iwate.
I'm going to Mrs. Horiuchi and ask her if I can give her a hand teaching flower arranging. If I leave right now, I'll probably be able to catch the 7:05 train to Miyajima.
Mitsue finishes her packing, sits at the dining room table, and with pencil in hand, opens up a blank sheet of letter paper.
That Kinoshita fellow will be back. So you should give another thought to that plan of yours. You can't just invite somebody into your home and kick them out just like that. It's downright rude.
I'll leave him a note at the front door where he's sure to see it. Don't worry about it.
What about the fabulous dinner you cooked up for him, huh? You want to rot and the flies to get at it?
He can have it all to himself. That's what I'm writing him.
But the bath! What are you gonna say? Please feel free to take a bath or something?
After that, I'll kindly close the shutters when you leave, lock the door securely, and leave the key with the next door neighbor. And the last line is, I'm happy to hold on to your invaluable objects for you, but please forget about me. Sincerely yours.
Aren't you even going back to the library?
No.
Has that stubborn old sickness come back again?
No!
You're sick, Mitsue. The name of the disease is guilt-ridden survivoritis. I know how you feel, Mitsue, but you're alive and you must go on living. You gotta get over this sickness right away.
The person I feel so awful and guilty about is you, Daddy.
Me?
Nothing will hide the fact that I left you where you were and ran away like a horrid little girl.
She runs into the garden and uses every ounce of her strength to lift up the head of the Jizo.
Your face was so badly burnt then, Daddy. Melt away just like the face of this Jizo. And I just did nothing, left you there and ran away.
Look, we've been over that. It's settled.
I thought it too, Daddy. But seeing this face brought it all back to me so clearly. I'm the daughter whose father fell into a sea of flames worse than hell, and I ran away from it. A human being like that has no right to be happy.
What you're saying is totally absurd.
Remember, Daddy? I came to and the house was collapsed on top of us. I knew something terrible had happened, but I didn't know what. I knew I had to get out from under there as quickly as possible, and I managed to wiggle my way out. But you couldn't budge. You just lay there on your back with pillars and beams and all these pieces of wood everywhere on top of you, so many of them. And I screamed with all my might, "Somebody, come and save my daddy!"
Because the same sort of thing was happening all over Hiroshima. You
Then
did
I-
all you could have.
Then I smelled this acrid, smoky smell, and I saw that our hair and eyebrows were on fire, crackling.
You tried to cover me by laying on top of me and over again put out the flames that came off me. I was grateful, but I knew that we'd both die if you just kept on doing that. So I said to you, "Get out of here, Mitsue." You said, "No, I won't," and stayed, and we just repeated that over and over again. "Get out. No, I won't."
Then you said, "Okay, let's play scissors, paper, stone. I'm gonna put out a stone so you don't have a prayer of winning."
Ready or not, here I go.
I see through you, Daddy.
Here I go.
You're not going to get away with it, Daddy.
And let's go.
I've been on to you since I was a little girl, Daddy.
Ready, let's go.
You always let me win on the next time, don't you?
And here we go.
Oh, Daddy, you were always so kind and gentle.
Why in the hell don't you put out paper, huh? Can't you see that I want you to win and get out of here? Now stop being so horrid and show a little respect for your father, will ya? Do what your father says for this one last time, I'm begging you. If you don't run away right now, I'll die right here and now, and you'll see.
But the fact is, I left you there.
You are so stupid. How'd you ever get so stupid, huh? Did he teach you anything in that college of yours? Listen to me, will ya? When you were the next to me, then you didn't just cry and tell me how inhuman it was all. How horrible that we had to part like that. Remember? Didn't I say to you, a parting like this should never happen again to the end of time? It's not human. Were you able to hear my last words, Mitsue? Live my life for me. So you see, you will go on living because of me.
Because of you?
Yes, go on living so that the world will remember that tens of thousands of people have had to say goodbye like that, and it's inhuman. Isn't that what the library where you work is for? To tell people those things? You've got your work cut out for you. To tell people sad things and happy things. If you don't get that through your head, then you're really the stupid pig-headed daughter you say you are, and there's no way I can ever depend on you. Just as soon as have some other child instead.
Some other child?
A grandchild? A great-grandchild?
Mitsue slowly goes into the kitchen and takes a hold of a knife. She peers at her father for a while, then starts to finely chop a burdock root.
When will I see you again?
Depends on you.
Might be a while.
We hear a car's engine in the distance.
Oh God, I've got to top up the firewood.
Takezo exits.
Daddy! Thank you!
The sound of the car gets louder.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Atsuko, and I'm from Fukuoka, Japan, but I studied and worked at Elizabeth University in Hiroshima. And after that, I came to the United States, and I'm teaching this Boston area, the piano. Then one day, I asked my student, do you know the name of, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I asked. Then that student said, no. So I was really shocked, and I thought I should do something. So I asked the Ms. Yoko Nakatani to write several pieces which have something to do with the atomic bomb. So I hope the children who play this piece or listen to this piece, I hope they know the name of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and I hope they wish or they hope such a disaster doesn't happen again. And me too, playing this piece, I hope I can spread the message of peace. So please listen to the piece. I hope you enjoy.
I'll just want to say a few words. That is, the film that you saw during the Lantern Dance was a film that I produced, and I want to mention to you that Yoko Nakatane was the composer of the music in that film. That's not the music you heard while the film was playing, but she did an original piece for that movie. And just a couple of things I want to say is that when we made the film on the survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the one thing that stuck in my mind forever is that the hibakusha, the survivors that we interviewed, all said the same thing. They said the reason they were participating in the film was that they wanted the younger generation never to experience anything like the atomic bombing that happened. And the other thing I'd like to say is that very frequently we'll hear news reports about how many people were killed in Hiroshima, how many people were killed in Nagasaki. You hear this a lot about every crime. And I just want to say that if one person was killed in Hiroshima, if one person was killed in Nagasaki, it was too much. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Ryoko Hirano, and I'm an actor and director based in Japan. It's a pleasure to meet you. In the year 2019 until March 2020, I visited Boston and lived New York. And hopes produced a play in the United States, but the pandemic made it impossible. The play is called The Face of Jizo by Hisashi Inoue. I wanted to produce this play in the US together with actors here because of use of nuclear weapon, which was both a historic tragedy and significant fact. I'm not trying to blame anyone or any countries. That's not my point. My sincere hopes is that US and Japan lead a global dialogue and of peacemaking by learning from the past to prevent this horrific event ever happening again. I start by spreading the act of kindness and thoughtfulness in each family unit and in our community. My biggest inspiration was my 99 years old grandpa. Our grandparents' generation lived through an era of World War II. When I was little, my grandma told me a lot about the war, but my grandpa never talked about it. As a kid, I wonder why. Years passed, and I became an actress. In 2016, I was cast as a daughter in the play The Face of Jizo. Since this was a story about the war, so I needed to understand character better, so I turned to my grandpa, who was a young soldier in World War II. So I called him several times, but he got extremely emotional and yelled at me like, "I have nothing to tell you." My grandma also told me to stop. I was very shocked at that time because my grandpa, usually such a gentle and calm person, never getting angry with anyone. Despite knowing my grandpa hates talking about the war, I kept asking, tell me. Because at that point, I felt like it's my responsibility to know. When I visited him in person after many tries, he finally shared a little information. Grandpa grandpa was assigned to register domicile in Hiroshima when he joined the military at the age of 18. He told me that he has been keeping a diary since his first day in the military, every single day for more than 70 years. I think I finally understood why Grandpa has been keeping his silence. Survivor's guilt that my character was feeling in the face of Jizo overlapped with how my grandpa kept guilty about the world for such a long time. My grandpa passed away months after giving a speech at the peace ceremony in Boston last year. This is what motivates me today. What I can do is to tell the story through theater. I have never experienced the world, but through theater, I can take a closer look at it. And can only inevitably feel the outcry of people in the era, but also understand the magnitude of their suffering. May there be no more war, no more news in this precious world. I'm thankful, thank you. Sorry. I'm thankful for not living in a war-torn zone, but so for those who are out there, I would like all of us to keep working towards a peaceful world so that we can hand down the torch to our future generations. For the reason, I sincerely hope to produce the Face of Jizo in the United States and beyond and keep promoting peace. And I brought Senbazuru from Japan as a player for peace. Many people were involved in making these paper cleans, which took a month to make. And then I brought tiles that were found near the Hiroshima hypercenter. This tile appeared several times in the original story of the Face of Jizo. This tile tells the story of the situation at the time. I'll leave it at the reception desk later. Thank you so much.
Okay, now, do you guys have any questions for the director and the producers? Anyone? Anyone wants to make any comment? Comments? Nothing? Okay, great.
I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of and thankful to David Rothhauser for all of his work over many, many years. I met him, I think, maybe 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, and he's been steadily working so hard over many years trying to get people informed about this, and I appreciate his good heart.
So I mentioned in the beginning that I have a little black book for address book. So that's how I communicate with people now. So if you like to, leave your name and address and be my pen pal, please. I have my little black book at the reception desk, and then there's a lot of wonderful little piece art goods.
I wanted to say thank you very much for everybody who involved this production, especially you come from Japan. So you said that this is the based on Inoue Hisashi? Yes. I did not know. Thank you very much, David. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for composer. Thank you for pianist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think it is wonderful that you guys, everybody, you keep up work and remind of the importance of the Hiroshima bombing and the Nagasaki bombing. I really do appreciate. Thank you.
So hello everyone. So I just wanted to share my experience because I lived in Nagasaki. So I'm from France and I lived there to study Japanese. And I feel like as long as you don't visit the city of Nagasaki, you cannot realize what the consequences of the bombing were. I lived in a host family, and the old woman that was, I called her like my Japanese grandmother. She was a survivor of the bombing. And you can recognize the people who are survivors, because when you see someone having a bunch of medicines, most of the time it's a survivor. And she had all the reasons to hate American people. I'm sorry, I'm very emotional. But she had no hatred against American people. So, sorry. I think it's a very good example that peace is really important, and she had no hatred against American people. Sorry. But I think it's really important to continue to do that. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
My name is Fanny. I came from Taiwan because my father is Taiwanese, but my mom she was from Hiroshima. She was there at that time. She's a survivor. She was 19 years old. She saw everything, whole life. She kept talking about, especially at the day of today, every year. She went back to that day and warning and reminding, and she wanted the whole world to know no more war, no more nuclear bomb. No matter where you're from, not just from Hiroshima, Nagasaki, or Japan, the whole world survive, and we all get hurt. Thank you so much today for everyone that you make this right here for us. Thank you so much for all your message sent to the whole world. Everyone listen in every corner of the globe of the earth.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And that's it for this year's Peace Memorial. And this is an annual event, so hopefully we will see you guys next year. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.